Picture this for a second. Jimmy Butler and Wardell Stephen Curry in the 2025 NBA Finals next season. How's that sound? Look, bro, I'm not advocating for a Jimmy Butler trade. By the way, it's been reported that if the Miami Heat made Jimmy Butler available, the Warriors would possibly be interested. All right, let's just go down a rabbit hole real quick and just think about how that would look. Is Jimmy Butler a good enough second option for Curry to win a chip? I think so. Now, here's the thing. Jimmy Butler is 34 years old. He's a geezer, just like Steph. And if the Warriors trade for him, they have to give up Jonathan Kuminga. I don't see a scenario where the Warriors can get out of this situation without giving up either Kuminga or Pods. The Heat are going to demand one of them. Let's just, for argument's sake, say it's Jonathan Kuminga. Warriors fans, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to give up 21-year-old Jonathan Kuminga for 34-year-old Jimmy Butler? But Jimmy Butler is a near all-NBA level player, especially in the playoffs when he's locked in. Is giving up on a young 21-year-old wing in year 4 worth bringing back a surefire all-star wing that can help Steph Curry win a championship next season? That's a tough question. I'm sure if I asked Warriors fans, it'll probably be a 60-40 split in favor of not doing that trade. Now, again, I'm not advocating for trading for Jimmy Butler because I need to see what that trade package looks like. So first, I would have to see if it's even possible to get Jimmy Butler without giving up those two. Obviously, it ain't gonna play out like that. Like, this ain't 2K, bro. Like, you ain't trading with the computer in 2K. Like, this, like, if you want to get something of value, you have to give up something of value. Jimmy Butler is an all-NBA player. Even though he's older, we all seen what he could do in the playoffs still. Like, he can still turn up. He can still go crazy. He's a legit second option next to Steph Curry. Now, the question is, how would he look next to Steph Curry? How would their play styles mesh? Well, Jimmy Butler is essentially a point forward. He's a very willing playmaker. He's a very willing passer. He's a smart player. He makes the right reads. He makes the extra pass. Jimmy Butler needs a ball in his hands. Steph Curry's a great off-ball player. So that kind of works right there. Both high IQ players. I think offensively, they can make it work. Defensively, Jimmy Butler's older, but he provides size on the wing at 6'7", 225. He's still a good defender. So fit-wise on both ends of the court, it looks like a pretty solid fit. Now, the biggest reason why I probably wouldn't trade Kuminga for Jimmy Butler is the fact that he's injury prone. Like, it is what it is, man. He's a good player. He's a great player, but he's injury prone for sure. You got 36 going on 37-year-old Steph Curry, and you got 34-year-old Jimmy Butler. The chances of one of them being injured by the time you get to the playoffs, I feel like that's pretty high. You got two old geezers out there hooping, bro. You can't expect them to just have a clean bill of health the entire season. You just gotta hope when that inevitable injury happens, it's not during the playoffs. When a fan base is divided on a trade, where one end of the spectrum they're saying hell yeah, do it, and the other side is saying hell no, that's how you know it's a pretty fair trade, because Jimmy Butler's a great player. I feel like everybody can agree on that, but it just comes down to what the price is to get him. And if it's Kuminga, that's tough, but I can see the argument either way. Do I think Jimmy Butler makes the Warriors title contenders? If you put Jimmy Butler next to Steph Curry and make Jimmy Butler a second option, I think so. I feel like Jimmy Butler next to Steph Curry, that's a better big two than Kyrie and Luka. I don't care what nobody say. Give me Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry over Kyrie and Luka any day of the week. Now, the other problem besides them being injury prone is if you trade for him, you gotta be willing to give him a max contract. So you have to be prepared to pay him north of $50 million a year at 34 years old. That's some crazy numbers. So that's definitely something I can see the Warriors having a hard time overlooking. Gun to my head, if you say, yo, Jimmy Butler right now to the Warriors, but you got to give up Kuminga, you got to give up a first-round pick, and let's say you got to give up like Chris Paul's contract and like other filler. That's tough. That's tough, man. Like, I ain't gonna lie, that's tough. Like, I don't know if I can do it, but if Curry was pushing for it, if Curry was like, get me Jimmy Butler, I'd be like, all right, if that's what Curry want to do, go get Curry what he wants, man. Like, that's how I look at it. I still believe in Kuminga's upside. I still believe in his ability to improve. If Steph is like, go get me Jimmy Buckets, go get him Jimmy Buckets, man. The other rumor is that if Brandon Ingram was made available, the Warriors would not be interested. That's interesting because I know the Warriors love having wings. And Brandon Ingram's a 6'8" dribble pass shoot guy. That's an extremely valuable player. But I think the Warriors think he a little soft, bro. Like, I think they just think he ain't built like that. That's the only explanation for them to not be interested at all. I think Brandon Ingram's an interesting name. Would I rely on him as like, all right, that's your second option. Curry's getting blitzed. Curry's getting double teamed. Teams are pulling out all the buffoonery to guard Curry. Brandon Ingram, it's your time to get a bucket. Are you going to trust him? I don't know. Like, in that first round Thunder series with Zion Williamson out, when his team needed him the most, Ingram didn't crack 20 points in one game and they got swept. Like, that's To me, that's a red flag. Your team is dependent on you. You're the best shot creator on the team now. Like, damn, you couldn't get 20 points one time? But then again, you put him next to Wardell, Stephen Curry, it might be a different story. So, I don't know. But if the Warriors aren't interested, then there's really no point talking about it. Another lesser name that I would be interested in is Brook Lopez. I think Brook Lopez would be the perfect fit next to Draymond Green in the front court. He's a 7-footer, he's a floor spacing center, and a shot blocker. And he essentially provides everything the Warriors need: size, front court shooting, and a defensive presence. You put those three things in one player next to Draymond Green, all of a sudden Draymond Green has the ability to roam on defense. And then you still got TJD off the bench. Like, that would be the perfect center rotation. Brook Lopez, Draymond Green, Trace Jackson Davis. You rotate center minutes between those three, and then you have Kevon Looney as just an emergency big. Maybe you put him out there if someone's in foul trouble or if someone's injured, he can soak up some minutes. But yeah, Brook Lopez is an interesting name. I'm not sure where the Milwaukee Bucks are with that. I know they're like a smaller market, and that owner isn't necessarily trying to be paying luxury tax all like that. So we got to see how that looks. Brook Lopez is 34, I believe, so he's getting up there in age. He has history of back problems. I don't know, because if the Bucks are trying to get off of him, that might be a red flag not to trade for him, because why wouldn't they want to keep him? He's a perfect fit next to Giannis. But Brook Lopez is definitely a name I would be looking at. I think if you add Brook Lopez and Andrew Wiggins has a bounce back year at age 29, and then Draymond Green's not a bozo sabotaging the team, I think the Warriors can be in the mix next season. They may not necessarily need a second star. Then again, with Curry going on 37, you should probably get a second star anyways. And any trade they do, Podziemski and Kuminga are off limits unless I'm getting a bona fide top 15, top 12 player. Like Moody, I like Moody, but if we got to make a trade, he's the most expendable of the young guys in my opinion. TJD, I don't want to trade TJD either. But if you have to put him in a trade, you have to. It is what it is. But Podziemski and Kuminga, those are the two dudes where I'd rather give up extra first and give those dudes up, because I feel like Kuminga and Podziemski are going to be really good. By the way, shout out to Brandon Podziemski for making all rookie first team. Who would have thought the 19th pick in the draft would end up being one of the 5 best rookies this season? So that's dope on Podziemski's part, and it's well earned. I mean, he literally led the Warriors in plus minus. Yeah, that's a crazy stat. Brandon Podziemski led the Warriors in plus minus. I feel like this honor is well deserved. It's only up from here. After the all-rookie announcement, Podziemski actually ended up on a presser with the media where he revealed his offseason priorities to improve. He mentioned getting quicker vertically and laterally. That basically means he's just trying to improve his lateral quickness on defense, moving his feet. He said he wants to get more explosive, so he's better able to get all the way to the rim, so he doesn't have to rely on tough shots around the basket. We all seen Paz taking crazy hook shots. He got away with that in college and it was pretty effective for him, but that's not working in the NBA, bro. Like, these defenders are bigger, faster, more athletic, just higher IQ. That's just not ever going to be a reliable shot for a 6'4" guard. So if he was able to increase his ability to get to the rim by getting a little more explosive, that would be huge for him. He also said he wants to work on being a more aggressive three-point shooter. It's crazy because Podziemski is a great three-point shooter. Like, the numbers say so in college, even his rookie season. Although he was hesitant, I mean, he shot nearly 39% from three. It's pretty solid, but he did pass up shots too much. I like the fact that he was looking to get Stephen Clay that shot. If he was open, but they were more open, he would no-brainer make that extra pass, which is great. But sometimes when teams are sagging off you and they're not even closing out and you're wide open, you gotta take that shot, bro. Like, you're a great shooter, just take the shot, because you might not get a better shot than that if you pass it up. He also said he willing to work on being a more versatile three-point shooter, which includes his catch and shoot threes, his shooting out of a DHO, his off the dribble threes, shooting out of ball screens. He just wants to overall be a more versatile three-point shooter. And if he does, that'll take his offensive game to the next level. I actually posted all of Paz quotes on Twitter, and the tweet kind of blew up a little bit. Paz himself even reached out and acknowledged it. Hey, shout out to Paz for being tapped in with the fans. I know great things are coming in year 2. If you had to ask me what I think Brandon Podziemski's upside is, I would say it's somewhere in between a Manu Ginobili and Josh Hart hybrid. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Manu Ginobili, so don't come for me. All I'm saying is, if Brandon Podziemski has elite work ethic and he maximizes his potential, his ceiling could be a player that has aspects of Manu Ginobili in terms of his competitiveness, his craftiness, his playmaking, his dribble pass shoot capabilities. Now, Paz will never be as good of a scorer as Manu Ginobili was. Ginobili was a little bit bigger and he was more athletic. But that's why I said shades of Manu Ginobili and Josh Hart, because Josh Hart is not a scorer at all. But Paz does have aspects of his game as well. The insane motor to rebound for their size. I think Josh Hart's 6'5", and he's an insane rebounder. They both rebound like power forwards basically. Like, Paz came into the league as a 20-year-old and he was already one of the best rebounder guards in the league. On top of that, like, they just have a knack for the ball. They're always first to the ball on rebounds and they're always first to the ball when it's on the floor. They have that competitive fire. Paz also led the league in charges as a rookie. I don't think that's ever happened before in NBA history. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if you want to hear more about my Paz Ginobili comparison, I actually made a whole video on that, so check that out when you get a chance. Anyways, that's all I got for y'all. If you enjoy the content, do me a favor, subscribe. I'll hit you on the next one. Peace.